grapefruits! Fake! Liar! You liar!
I just love that stuff. Some of the intros that Mr. T has done are just outstanding. Welcome back, folks. It is Sunday Night Live. We're at the zoo. It's all YouTube. It's everybody here in one big party, folks, and it's the zoo. It has hit the fan. It has absolutely hit the fan, folks. And it is your show. It is Sunday Night Live. You go ahead, hit that super chat button up there in the corner, right? Or do CashApp or do PayPal, and those instructions, right? Those links are down in the comments section. We have got one heck of a show, and, well, I've got stuff to talk about. But again, the zoo is you guys. We've got last week, all year in the history, last year, the year before. I mean, we're in 2022. We had all of 2021. And folks, 80% of 2020 was cerveza bug nonsense, SHTF. It has been a royal shit show. It really has. Since 2020 hit, it's just been off the hook stupid. And it's not done. We've got this weekend. What happened this weekend? And then we've got what's going to happen this week, the coming month, the summer, the election season. There's no break. There's no escaping it. So we got a question. The question is what do we do about it? What do we do about it? Do you stick your head in the sand or in your sphincter and just pretend like none of this is happening? No, nothing to worry about here, nothing to see, right? Nothing to see at all. Or do we start using our brains, right? Looking around. Well, if you know it's hit the fan, then you must be a prepper, right? And that's why we're here, literally. And Uman says, welcome to the zoo. What was that there, Oliver? What'd you put up, man? He's probably putting up his rules. He says, where Sunday hits the fan, please keep it friendly between the lines. We do have a zero tolerance policy around here. So, in order to make a comment down below, you have to be a subscriber. So hit that subscriber bell. Make sure you're subscribed. And then after that, 30 minutes. There's a 30-minute period to keep the trolls away. See, they don't want to sit around and wait. Anyways, we just started the show. We're going to go for 2 hours minimum. And what keeps me in this chair past 2 hours is super chat donations, right? If you donate money, I want to stay here and make sure you get your questions answered. It can be about a topic, a person, a place, a thing, anything that's happened. Oh my God. Cottage Farm, right out the frickin' gate. Bam! $20 super chat donation with Patriot Front, AKA big time false flag. Yes, I'm going to have to agree with that one. And this is what's incredible is you guys know. Let me pull it up here. I've got a little bit of talk about that I wanted to get into. Unbelievable, right? Unbelievable. Over the weekend, the Patriot Front, they got all dressed up in their little uniforms and got in the back of a U-Haul, and they were going to be transported with their little shields to go to a Pride Month, what do they call those things? Rally, protest, event, right? Only the Patriot Front wasn't allowed to get there. Apparently, the police said they had an informant or informants inside that group. And so they had the media show up and they got a big splash, arresting the Patriot Front. Got them on their knees, zip-tied hands behind their back. I guess when people who like freedom and liberty, people like you and me, when we put on a protest, a rally, an event, Antifa, BLM, anyone who wants can show up and they can bring bullhorns and make noises and they can set off fireworks and they can start punching old people and they can throw chemicals on people and paint and get away with it. But I guess if Patriot Front wants to go, well, they need to be arrested. And you know why, folks? Because Patriot Front is a bullshit organization. The political leftists, that would be what, Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, AOC, the FBI, the DHS, basically all of Washington, D.C. They need someone to point the finger at and go, those are the bad guys over there, right? And there are no groups. I mean, they had the Proud Boys. They kind of crapped all over them. And they had, Stuart Sverdlow's organization. You know who I'm talking about. Should I even say the words, right? And now they've come up with this Patriot Front, right? You know, they got rid of Proud Boys, they got rid of Oath Keepers, and now Patriot Front is who they have front and center. Anything that goes wrong, they're going to blame Patriot Front. And I don't know anybody in Patriot Front. It appears to be a bunch of white supremacist dorks. It's really bizarre. It looks like that this event, this weekend, was the start of painting Patriot Front as a right-wing extremist, racist group. Now, what's amazing is, aren't white supremacists also supposed to be neo-Nazis? They don't want to use the word Nazi right now, folks, because that smells too much like Ukraine. Because in Ukraine, they have neo-Nazis. That's right, the Azov Battalion, the military of Ukraine, the supposed good guys in world affairs. Yeah, a little bit of problem there with that, right? Little bit of a problem. Yeah, they're Nazis. They have swastikas. They have SS tattoos. They have, just, it's incredible. But yeah, I think Cottage Farm is on it 100% that this is a false flag operation designed to get the attention of the American public, because they're splashing this all over mainstream media. And Patriot Front, a right-wing extremist group known for its white supremacist views, attempted to interrupt the everyone loves them and can't get enough of the LGBTs crowd who are just having their Pride Month, right? And so now, next week, the week after, whenever they need, they can dust out the Patriot Front, bring out their agents provocateur, their stooges, have them commit acts of terror, and guess what they're going to do? They're going to blame you and me and try and make us look like we're the same group. We're part of that type of thinking, which is so untrue. But that's where they're going to go with it, folks. Literally, that's where they need to go with this. Woo! It's just not going to get, folks, any better before it gets a whole lot worse. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. And folks, the law enforcement admits that they had informants inside Patriot Front Group. Haven't they done enough of this, right? Where there's a group out there, whether legitimate or illegitimate, and the FBI infiltrates it, and then they say, let's do these illegal things, and let's make bombs, and let's do something illegal, right? And then they bust them and go, see, we caught them. Well, they were antagonizing and instigating and asking them to do that. Before I go to the next topic or the next super chat donation, we're at 314, 319, and it just keeps ticking up. People, we've got that address at the very top, that internet address. Send that to friends, family, loved ones, anyone you can think of, and say, hey, it's that guy again. It's the Prepared Mind guy. Get over here. We got some shit to talk about, right? Now, just to finish up Cottage Farm on the Patriot Front thing and a supposed right-wing group, right? There were billions of dollars in damage by left-wing groups in 2020. Literally billions, not thousands, not hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. It was billions of dollars to businesses, public buildings, public property, cars, billions. Patriot Front, folks, an apparent federal law enforcement sponsored fake right-wing group hasn't caused any damage that I'm aware of, but they're getting arrested for some headlines just in time for the summer of love. But yeah, the police admit, oh yeah, we got some informants in there. Right? It's incredible. By the way, right now, we have more people watching us. Oh, drop my glasses. We have more people watching us than watch the president of the United States. This is incredible. And I keep telling you guys, we literally have more people watch us than the president of the United States. The embarrassment that this guy represents to the political left actually had AOC today, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She was asked if she would support Biden, support his nomination, if she thinks he should be nominated, right? If he should be president again. And she started laughing. What does that mean? Now, I have to admit, I really thought that Biden wouldn't make it 6 months before he had an accident or slipped on a banana peel or fell headfirst into the toilet and drowned. I thought for sure that would happen. Yet here he is, just blowing and going, a year and a half into this shit. He's still there, but they're not getting it right. Literally, folks, nobody is watching Joe Biden and his White House videos. The media doesn't seem to be attending them. Nobody cares what this guy says. He did a meeting last week, right? The meeting of the Americas, and nobody showed up. Nobody. Anyways, I figured I'd tell you guys, since more people are watching this, that on this Sunday, I'm drinking Belizean rum. It is delicious. Oh, that's good. Nothing quite like a good spiced rum. And Martin Thorne checks in with a $20 super chat donation. Thank you very much, Martin. If you got a question, comment. Oh, here we go. He says, sorry, Charlie, but bumblebees are tuna too. By the way, are flying fish part of bees and birds? Bees are birds. That's a tricky one, I'm going to have to say that flying fish are not part of the birds and the bees. Unless they got rainbow colored wings. It's really quite crazy, folks, what is going on in the world. And wow, nobody cares what the president is saying. And I'm just a regular guy, and you are just regular Americans, patriotic, gun-loving, Bible-owning, freedom-minded, law-abiding, tax-paying Americans. And we've got over 400 people here live right now. There's a number in my corner. 405 people live and climbing. And this happens every show. Last week, we topped 1,000. It was freaking awesome. Whew. And then we've got Jackie Bird with $5 super chat donation. He says, your opinion on Trudeau still punishing Canadians with travel mandates. Down here in the United States of America, we're hearing less about Trudeau since he's quit having people stampeded with horses. Unfreaking believable. But yeah, Canadians, you're in big trouble. He's trying to get rid of the last of the guns. He's trying to criminalize freedom and liberty. Trudeau has just made me sick, folks. I mean, absolutely sick. I mean, his travel mandates, I don't like this you have to be fully juicinated or you can't travel. You have to do what the government says, or you can't go to work, you can't have a job, you can't travel, you can't do this, you can't do that. Screw that, right? But Canada, right? Justin Trudeau says using a gun for self-defense is, quote, not a right that you have. This comes from the little bitch who has armed guards to protect his worthless sellout ass-kissing loyalist behind. That's what I think of Justin Trudeau. And he is punishing Canadians. I don't know under what guise, though. I don't know under what guise he is doing that. What reasoning? See, up here, or down here rather, in the United States, even the Biden administration is removing travel restrictions and not requiring people to be tested for cerveza bug in order to fly into America. They're just dumping it. No one gives a shit. No one cares. No one believes it. No one's buying it. These demands in New York City that everyone wears masks, including children, going away. Now, I know California, they have some mask mandates indoors in some areas, but people are tired of this shit. They're absolutely tired. Oh, boy. And there we go. All right. I tell you, Jackie, Canada is in big trouble. And I pray for Canada, and I pray and hope that California doesn't fall and break off into the ocean. But I pray the United States doesn't go the way of Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and the rest of the world. Now, they've pushed it, folks. They've really pushed it here on gun control. They really have. They really have. It's incredible. Nope, shoot. Before I could change gears, Bernard Shreve Jr. became a YouTube member. Thank you for that, Bernard. And that reminds me, yes, we're off of Patreon. They're out of here. We're done with them. We're moving to a secure, I would say 99% secure free speech zone. That's where we're moving to for our premium service while we revamp the club, and we're going to come up with our own Prepared Mind app. It's going to allow us to be, I think, 99.99% free, right? Short of Mark Zuckerberg calling up Google and telling him to get rid of us. I think we'll be very, very secure. Now, let's do this. I want to talk about China because, well, China. All right, yeah, China. I think that China is going to make its move very soon, folks. Biden is weak. No one watches him. No one listens to him. He went to that America's conference and he was ignored. He's just kind of staring off into the distance. No one paid any attention to him. No one believes that Biden's in charge, folks. China does not fear Biden. China, I'm sure, is very aware that Biden is a puppet and someone's pulling his strings. And so if China's worried about anything, it is who are Biden's masters and what would they think of China invading Taiwan. I really think, though, folks, that they're going to go after Taiwan. China this weekend threatened Biden, says, we will not hesitate to start war. That's really getting nasty. The Chinese are really starting to get, shall we say, vociferous. They really are. Unbelievable what is happening in a world, right? We're supposed to be very upset about Russia rolling into Ukraine. And of course, we've discussed the reasons why they have done that, right? But is the United States of America antagonizing China? Is Taiwan antagonizing China? I mean, other than saying, no, sorry, we're our own country. So, yeah, there's some big, big problems over there. And I think that China is just going to manufacture whatever excuse is needed. And here we are, right at 500 people live at this moment. Pow, we hit that. And JC1701 with the $50 super chat donation. Bam. I tell you what, $50 and up gets a shot of the good stuff going down the hatch. So let's have a drink, a toast to that. And then I will answer that question. Oh, wow. Woo! Let's do it. Let's do it. JC says, shall not be infringed. all gun laws are infringements. I'm going to tell you what, Jace or JC, rights cannot be taken. They are inalienable. You see, that was an amazing part of the Declaration of Independence. Our rights are inalienable. Now, that document, the Declaration of Independence, I think is a more powerful document than the Constitution itself, because it was through that declaration that we have rights from God, inalienable, that exist, pre-exist, and exist after all governments have failed. Inalienable rights. That term itself frustrates every tyrant, every despot, every scumbag, every dictator. They hate that term. Right? And government. Oh, government does not like when you refer to the Declaration of Independence, because it challenges them and tells them your authority is very limited. And you, my government friends, are servants and you're on a leash. Now, shall not be infringed. Well, today or this weekend, senators reached an agreement on the gun control. Really, right? Including red flag laws. And there were 10 Republicans who joined the Democrats in passing this trash in the Senate. So my recommendation is that every one of us text every senator and say, that's an infringement. You're at the end of your leash and you're barking as hard as you can, and our rights are inalienable. Shall not be infringed. It's going to get nasty, folks. It's going to get ugly. It really is. Right? Now, how do I address this? Right. There was an article that came out today written by Wayne Root, and he is a very popular political pundit. And I kind of titled this here, "Stop Pretending," right? So I'm going to read some of Wayne Allen Root's thoughts here. He says, "Stop trying to pretend this isn't treason. It is. Stop trying to pretend this isn't the purposeful, intentional destruction of America. It is." He continues, "Stop trying to pretend this is politics as usual or a political disagreement. It's not. Stop trying to pretend everything is going to be all right. It is not. We are dealing with radical communist traitors, domestic terrorists, and suicide bombers out to destroy the greatest country, economy, and middle class in world history." Now, folks, I totally agree with Wayne Root and his article he wrote. And if agreeing with him is wrong, then whoever calls that wrong is both blind, deaf, and stupid, right? I think that we, me and you, the real patriots, have been sounding the call long ago that we have domestic enemies in charge of our nation. The prepper community is the patriot community, folks. And we have seen this coming long ago. There's no surprise here, folks. We saw this coming. We've seen it coming. We knew it was coming, right? I say stop pretending and ignoring the end of everything. It is right here, right? Domestic, our enemy. Stop ignoring the enemy who is right in front of our faces. They're full of hatred for our freedoms. Shall not be infringed. The inalienable right to free speech, to the right to defend ourselves, right? These people are full of hatred for our freedoms and the Constitution, which is a law, right? Our rules for the government, not for me and you. The rules are for the government, to tell the government how to behave. Shall not be infringed. You, government, shall not infringe our rights. So I say stop pretending the Socialist Democratic Party and their rhino buddies. Stop pretending they're Americans. They are not. They hate America and they hate you, right? The poll that was taken, and I want to talk about this more later, but I just want to gloss over quickly. Poll was taken recently, shows 40+%, folks, of Democrats, almost half of Democrats, admit to like the idea and say assassination is acceptable for their political enemies. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. If Democrats and rhino Republican socialist traitors are willing to assassinate their political foes, freedom-loving patriots, they certainly would have zero problem with just throwing us in concentration camps and just forgetting that we ever existed. Folks, nearly half of Democrats think that killing their political opponents is acceptable. Assassination is an acceptable way to deal with people that don't agree with them. Let that sink in. They are the ones talking about assassination, not you and me. They are the ones who cause billions of dollars in damage, not you and me. Republican leaders like Governor Abbott and DeSantis wanted that shit stopped now. Trump wanted it stopped now. Democrats allowed it, they pardoned it, and they encouraged it. These people are scum, right? They have zero tolerance for us, and they have zero problem, folks. Rhinos, Republicans in name only, folks. They have joined Senate Democrats, right, today, this weekend, to steal our rights away from us, to take away our ability to resist their next horrifying move and to make us their slaves, their bitches. Unbelievable. Unbelievable that Republicans think, well, these are just rules. No, they're not rules. It's trying to strip us of our rights. I tell you what, my rights are still 100% intact. They will not infringe on mine. That's a big argument I don't think anyone wants to have, trying to take your rights away from you. Once again, shall not be infringed. They are inalienable rights, so they cannot be infringed. All any of us can do is agree with them and hand our guns over voluntarily. They cannot mandate, they cannot force a right away. All they can do is kill you or force you to surrender. Right now, there's no need to go over all the names of the political scum and corporate aristocratic cabal members. We have already named names. We have laid out their plans that they have revealed to us, right? We're seeing where this leads, folks. We're seeing exactly where this road they've put us on leads. And if we don't resist, if we just give in to these scumbags, we're going to suffer the same fate as every other people, every other nation that wanted to pretend what they saw wasn't really happening. The German people in the 1920s and then 30s and then 40s, the people of Russia under communism, the people of China under communism, the people of Cuba under communism, people in Vietnam under communism, all over the world. Anytime a people pretends that what they're seeing isn't real, the next thing that happens is they find themselves thrown in a political prison or taken out back and have a gun put to the back of their head. Every single time. So that's why I say the pretending is over. It's not just a political conversation, right? This is happening. It's happening, folks, right now, right in front of our faces. Shall not be infringed. Now, I don't believe that anyone should commit any act of violence or do anything dangerous and harmful, and I'm not encouraging insurrection or taking to the streets with your weapons and committing any crimes or anything illegal. Nope. I'm telling you, you have rights. They're inalienable, and your Second Amendment shall not be infringed. Anything they pass, folks, is unconstitutional. Now, the Senate, they need the House to sign the exact same paperwork, or they got to go to a conference committee and work out the differences between their two plans, and then they have to go back to their respective houses, right, of Congress, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Then they have to both pass it again. Then they have to send it up to Joe Biden. Then he'll call Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro Obama, and he'll say, yeah, Joe, sign that. And he'll say, okay, boss, right? You're the president. And then the courts, well, I'll tell you what, before it's even signed, there ought to be lawsuits being written right now and send this all the way up to the Supreme Court and see if the Supreme Court wants to tell us that shall not be infringed does not mean what shall not be infringed means. And we blew past 600 people live. Pow! Sitting at over 650 people live. If you're just tuning into the show, hit the subscribe button down below. Subscribe button down below. And it takes 30 minutes if you're a new subscriber before YouTube will allow you to start commenting. It's a new anti-troll policy, folks. Now, we have a lot to talk about here. And JC, I want to thank you very much for that awesome donation. Woo! I tell you, folks, I am pissed off over their efforts to continue to not read and understand the English language. Flowing Book treks in with a $5 super chat donation. It says, hello and thanks for your input. I tell you what, I've got an opinion, and it's based on history, law, fact, right? History, law, and fact. An understanding of the English language. An understanding of human personality traits and characters. And those in power who want to control and own it all, they'll do and say anything, folks, including giving themselves authority that they don't have. Literally, folks. Now, it's unbelievable where things are heading. Thank you for your support. Your super chat donations go into the GTFB and SB fund. That's the Get the Fuck Back and Stay Back fund. GTFB and SB. And we're off of the Patreon wagon, folks. Sorry to say, Patreon blew it with us, and that was the end of the line. We will have a premium site again for all of the uncensored content having to do with Cerveza Bug, the Jim Jones juice, the juice boosters, and this thing having to do with the election. Things that we're not allowed to talk about openly here. We'll be putting up our links and everything on the new, shall we say, station or channel. And Jolene has been busting her butt on that, getting that ready. It's coming. And after that, we're going to put up an app, and we're going to rebuild the preparedmind.club. The club, by the way, is where you can go to get what you need: food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, your plan. The club is your store. You guys pay for it, and all we do is put up links to companies that we have become affiliated with to get you the products that you can't get everywhere. You used to be able to get shit all over the place, everywhere, all the time. Now things are difficult. You need a gas mask. You want a two-way radio. You want long-term food storage. You want ammunition. You want CBs and walkie-talkies. You want body armor. You want water filtration, right? You want a virtual private network, a VPN to protect your location. I do the best I can to keep my location protected, folks, because I don't need these idiots trying to find me. And if they do, well, they're not going to be real happy with the results. We're rolling right up on 700 people live, folks. I love it. Absolutely love it. We're half an hour into the show. We're going to go 2 hours minimum. All right, Jolene, who did we have up there? I think it was our good buddy, Crazy Uncle, with a $5 super chat donation. And this is going to be interesting. Hang on to this. To take Taiwan, China would have to take the entire island in 4 to 7 days. If they don't, we can have an entire division on the ground and a carrier in range. I agree with you 100%, Crazy Uncle. They would have to take the island in 4 to 7 days. That is only if the Biden administration, asshole Joe, he knows, only if the Biden administration wants to stop it from happening. Are we, as a nation, me and you, the people, are we willing to support a war with China? over Taiwan. Apparently, we weren't willing to support a war with Russia over Ukraine, but we were willing to send bombs, rockets, missiles, guns, bullets, baby food over to Ukraine, but not troops. Are we ready for a war with China? Are you? I mean, I particularly do not want to see that. But China is gearing up, revving itself up. It's been practicing for months and even years, folks. Practicing air raids, air drills, fighter jets, bomber jets, long-range bombers, heavy bombers. They've been practicing. They've been practicing naval exercises. It's almost like China has a hard-on for Taiwan, and I guess they really, really do. It's incredible, folks. We have trouble. We have big trouble with Russia and China. Do we let Taiwan fall? Do we send our people in to get into an incredibly bloody battle? You see, I would have an opinion that would support kicking the ever-loving shit out of China for attempting to screw with any of our allies. Except I believe that our government in Washington, D.C., led by Joe Biden, the president, right? That entire city is run by a bunch of scum. And I don't like any of the decisions being made in the White House, coming from Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, who just had a meeting with China, by the way, and he was supposed to spend a few minutes with his leader, the basic Secretary of Defense for China, even though it's a different title. But they ended up talking for an hour. What did Lloyd Austin do? Surrender? Did he show him his purdy panties? Did Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin talk about his favorite lipstick that he likes to wear when he's all alone? What kind of fishnet stockings he likes to parade around in front of a mirror while doing the tuck? I mean, what did Lloyd Austin talk to this guy about? It's very, very scary. And then we got a crazy uncle stepping right back in. He says, prepper tip with a $5 super chat donation. He says, prep your gear, LB, LC, web gear, and wear it for a couple of hours. You need to balance it or it'll be more of a hindrance than an asset. This is practice. Practice whether it's a bulletproof vest or whether you have a tactical vest with armor plates. If you have canteens, whatever you've got, whatever your rig is that you have set up for Mad Max, wear it for a few hours. Understand the weight, how hot it's going to make you, and then balance this problem. Make sure that it's properly suspended on your shoulders. The weight is distributed or dig in. In other words, practice, practice, practice. And we're going to hit 800 subscribers, viewers live here in a few more minutes. Yeah. Now, I've got to tell you, when I was a young Marine, wearing all of that equipment was not comfortable, not fun, and certainly not easy. It never was, and it really never is. As we get older, comfort becomes more important to us. And so we try and get good gear, but it's still uncomfortable, still very hot, still very cumbersome. But you need to decide, what is it that I need to wear? You know, what do I need to have? Self-defense tools, knife, magazines, plate, armor. You need to decide what is most important and have that. Do you have to wear canteens or can you just have water nearby? Because half a gallon of water, well, that's another 5 pounds in canteens. So, weight is weight. The more weight you're carrying, the less mobile you'll be. So great prepper tip. Prep your gear, practice it, wear it. I wore, when I got the plate armor that I have, body protection, right? It's got front chest plate, back plate, kidney plates. I wore it for an entire day, and talk about sweat, right? and getting it sized right. Another thing is you don't want whatever you're wearing to be really loose, swinging around and banging into you, because it starts to hurt, right? You get just tapped in the same place over and over and over and over again. It hurts. So it needs to be strapped to you fairly closely so it continues to protect you, provide you what it needs, but it's not rubbing on you. Rubbing, it'll chafe your skin, give you rash, blisters, take your skin off. And that's just day one, folks. That's just day one. Also have clean undergarments, have extra clean shirts available so you can change out of them. Now, I've got a super chat donation coming from our weekly sponsor, Darcy T, who checks in. And I was worried about Darcy there because another friend of mine has been extremely distraught this weekend. He has lost 3 friends, folks, 3 friends to what has all the appearances of being side effects of the Jim Jones juice, right? Heart attack, strokes, enlarged heart, myocarditis, pericarditis, pulmonary issues, blood clots, blood thickening, feeling weak, feeling sick, feeling disoriented, low energy, lethargy, depression. Another friend of mine has lost 3 people that he knows now in just the last couple of weeks. He's like, where is John? Where is Mike? Where is Bill? Right? So I was getting kind of worried about Darcy T there. I hadn't heard from her yet. I thought, gee, many crickets, right? Woo! And these people, folks, that are disappearing, they've gotten the Jim Jones juice. And you just, all of a sudden, they're not answering the phone. They're not answering texts. Where's my friends? Where's my family members? Where's the frickin' mainstream media talking about all this? The best they can come up with is, well, in Australia, they have a new problem with healthy young people getting sick and keeling over. Well, that's not a minor problem. And it's not just in Australia. It's here in America. Both cerveza bug and non-cerveza bug related deaths are extremely high right now. Okay, what? Cerveza bug, we're done with that. But still, they're attributing a lot of deaths to it. Okay, and then there's a lot of people dying that have nothing to do with it. Well, what do you mean? Because they're having a heart attack? There's no relation? Good golly, we're having trouble. Anyways, back to Darcy. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're well. And we just topped 800, folks. 800 people live. President of the United States can't get a yawn from anyone. Nobody cares. YouTube is still hiding his thumbs down. YouTube is manufacturing the best they can do to make Joe look good, and he just looks bad. All righty. Now, Darcy T sent this. She says, good evening, John. I don't think people realize that once the Second Amendment is gutted, we'll be at the mercy of these thugs, like Australia was during the Jim Jones juice lockdowns. Now, understand, folks, Darcy is a very nice person. I know that a lot of us here are very nice people. We just want our rights respected. We want the law obeyed by the government. We want everyone to be on their best behavior. But we all understand, folks, that government is full of thugs. Elected thugs, appointed thugs, law enforcement thugs out of DC that hate the Second Amendment. It is the one obstacle that guarantees they can't take control of the country and take it away from us 100%. They know it. That's why they're coming after it so freaking hard. Right now, again, let's point back at Australia. I talked about they've got this, sudden adult death syndrome. Yeah, no shit, right? Australia gave up their guns years ago because of some mass shooting, a bunch of hyperbole and bullshit coming out of the government. They gave up their guns. They put them and they just cut them up into pieces and then melted them down. Probably made a bunch of syringes out of them. Anyways, We have the Jim Jones juice lockdowns, as Darcy put it. Cerveza bug lockdowns. Nobody could resist. The police in Australia were beating the shit out of people. Nobody could resist because the government is more powerful at that point. Now, understand this, folks. Understand this. And remember, don't be afraid of the government. They can say the Second Amendment is gone, dust. They can say this, they can say that. They can pass magazine laws. They can pass red flag laws. They can't come and take your guns. They can't. They can try. But remember the last school shooting in Uvalde, Texas. We learned a great lesson there. The police said, quote, they didn't want to get shot. Police don't want to get shot. I don't want to get shot. Nobody wants to get shot. But the police said it. We don't want to get shot. I've had conversations with law enforcement folks, and they say they want to go home to dinner and to see their family every night. They don't want to get shot. You want to play with the Second Amendment, government officials, and tell the law enforcement their job is to go get guns? How long until the cops quit? How long until the cops say, I ain't doing that? Folks, there are over 500 million rifles, shotguns, and handguns in this country. I'm guessing it's more like 1 billion. That's 4 guns per person, right? Let's just do the math. How long would it take law enforcement in the United States of America if they went in, the SWAT team in every town went in to 1 or 2 houses every night to confiscate firearms? How long would it take to disarm America? They would never finish. They would never, ever finish. The only way, folks, that we can be disarmed is if we hand them in. If we make them come and get them, they'll never finish the job. If we make them come and get them, they will end up getting shot all along the way. And police will be like, I don't want any part of that job. Because they want to go home and have dinner, and they want to go home and see their families, and they don't want to get shot, folks. These heroes that think that they're doing great work by confiscating firearms from people, they're not heroes. They are, as Darcy says, thugs. From the thugs that take your guns to the thugs that pass laws saying to take your guns. These people are crap. Hey, we're up way over 900 people live. Let's get to 1,000. Get that internet address, get it out there. Text, phone, email, carrier pigeon, smoke signal. Get it out there. Let's blast over 1,000 people live again. We're not even an hour into this, folks. And we're at 1,000 almost. We're going to go 2 hours minimum. Your super chat donations, right? Those are the questions. If you want to talk, topic, subject, person, place, thing, event, history, future, whatever you want, it is up to you. Thank you, Darcy, again for the great $50 PayPal donation. And now we got the Mike D Experience checking in with a 556 super chat donation. Why 556? Well, folks, that is the caliber 5.56 millimeter NATO round. Oh, it's good enough for NATO. It's good enough for my AR-15. That's right. The AR-15 shoots a 5.56 millimeter cartridge, and it's a great super chat donation. He says, look, now, folks, let's be calm. He says, John, let's make killing other people a new law. While we're at it, let's make tornadoes and hurricanes illegal too. There we go, right? Gotta love humor. The Democrats want to make political assassination okay. They already believe it, folks. They already believe that. But yeah, let's make tornadoes and hurricanes illegal. Right? Passing a law to make something illegal doesn't change its nature. Pass all the laws you want about tornadoes, they're still going to happen. Pass all the laws about hurricanes, they're still going to happen. Pass all the laws about volcanoes, earthquakes, asteroids, sunspots, right? They're still going to happen. You can't legislate away nature. And part of nature and being a living being is you have the right to self-defense. No creature on earth is required by nature to lay down and die. Neither am I, right? I have a brain just like you. I have a mouth just like you. And we have the opportunity to exercise through our intellect the explanation, reasoning, and understanding that goes into our belief system to explain to others our rights. I have a right, an inalienable right to defend myself. And that means using whatever I can get my hands on, whatever tools, implements, and I can employ whatever technology I can afford and mastermind. And that means guns. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And that includes, even though Joe Biden doesn't understand nor agree, it includes cannons. Cannons. You can go buy a cannon, ball, and powder right now. Perfectly legal. Now, thank you, Mike D. Darcy's expression, gutting the Second Amendment. She said, once the Second Amendment is gutted, well, they could leave it there in name and say, well, you still have your Second Amendment, but you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't have this over here, you've got to do that, you've got to get in line, you've got to wait your turn, you got to get a permit. All of those are impediments. All of those are infringements. That's right. They've infringed. Okay. Oh, my good buddy Matt T from extreme Northern California just checked in. Very good. Thank you, Matt. I miss you guys up there. Now, our rights, folks. You have a right to be prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. You have a right to make a plan. You have a right to understand who it is out there that is trying to stop you from being an American, from being free, from owning property, from going where you want. It's getting crazy, folks. It seems like the person, the people, the places, the things that are stopping us are government, right? Joe Biden sent baby food to Germany, Ukraine. Joe Biden sent baby food down to the American border, the southern border against Mexico. The Joe Biden administration went into a baby food plant and said, stop making baby food. We got a problem here, when there really wasn't. Yep, that's true, folks. Really wasn't a problem. Now, there's a grocery chain in the United States that has been forced to put its baby formula, baby food. They're putting it at the front of the store, and you have to ask for it. You can't just go clear the shelf off due to shortages. And the Biden stickers are popping up, folks. The I did this Biden stickers. Higher energy costs, baby formula, gasoline, diesel, electricity rates are just skyrocketing. Biden did this, folks. Biden did this. Do you think taking your guns is going to make that better? Or do you think it's going to allow them to do more of what they want, whether you like it or not? Right. Right. I tell you what. Yeah, Biden did that, folks. And he's going to continue to do it. I want to thank you guys, as always, for doing a great job of supporting all of our efforts here, supporting the Prepared Mind channel, the network. Everything that we do has been about getting people prepared and give them a good understanding of who it is that the problem is, what they're going to ask for, what they're coming for, all of it. It's a pretty complex subject. You can see pieces of it every day in your life when you look around at the world and go, that's wrong, that's wrong. I don't like that over there. There's your problem. We can do all of that. But when you put it all together, you don't really have much choice but to go, this is all wrong. Right? It's all wrong. Okay, Dion 2020 checks in with a $2 super chat donation. It says, they voted for terrorists and now we're being terrorized. That's very true, folks. It's very true. When Wayne Root pointed it out in his article today and said, yeah, they're terrorists. They're absolute terrorists. They're traitors. They're treasonous. They're violating the law. They violated their oaths if they ever took one properly. It is incredible. We've got ninnies and cowards and wimps and simps and people who are paid by the government to say the words they say and to show up at protests and act like they believe what they're being told to support. They're everywhere, folks. And it's not real. You know what's real is your rights. Now, today in the United States of America, they had an anti-gun march, protest called, quote, March for Our Lives. They did this in Washington, D.C. Guess what happened? Someone reportedly yelled, gunshot! And the scared lemmings, folks, all panicked and they caused a stampede, right? I bet the word shot wasn't even said at all. And it was just someone just yelled, gun, right? Now, to these idiots, folks, just the word gun is very scary. Sends them into fits. Imagine being so afraid, folks, that when someone yells a word, you panic, run, stampede, and hurt people, right? Now, knowing the gun control crowd, folks, hates guns. If a wacko really wanted to make the point, he could show up at one of these anti-gun rallies and mow down people. Folks, mow them down without fear of being shot back at until the police showed up. Right? Aren't these the same people that think all cops are bastards? Anyways, right? Certainly, they would make the point, right, that if someone started shooting at an anti-gun crowd, that the scared idiots, don't you think they'd start yelling for the police? And then as soon as they saw a policeman, say, go shoot that bad guy, save us, right? See, guns save lives. They want guns to protect them, but they don't want you to have the right to protect yourself. They think the government is here to protect them. It's not. The government's here to protect itself. That's why it has continuity of government rules and procedures and bunkers in place to protect them, not us. Right? Now, I don't care if 1,000 or 10,000 idiots show up and ask that the government controls our guns. Folks, inalienable rights are just that. They're inalienable. Just absolutely inalienable. And shall not be infringed means shall not ever, in any way, regardless of excuse and lie, shall never be and not be infringed. And any attempt is an attempt to destroy the nation and the people, and the persons trying to confiscate weapons should be tried for treason by a competent court and by a jury of American loving peers. I really think that makes the most sense. This entire idea and notion, folks, that a bunch of scared wimps, a bunch of ignoramus fools who believe government is our buddy. I don't care if it's 1,000 or 10,000, right? There's 350 million Americans. That's a lot of Americans. And some little chicken shit crowd in Washington, D.C. chanting and singing songs, right? That doesn't convince me that I should abandon my rights. And I don't care if a government thinks that that's a sufficient enough number that they should do something about it. I don't give a shit. I'm very upset that those children were killed and people were killed. But how many people, folks, die every year in car accidents? Way, 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 way more than people that get killed by guns. Folks, tens of thousands. Is it 40,000, 50,000 people die every year in car accidents? And that's even, folks, with all the great seatbelts and airbags and safety equipment and everything else. Cars are far more dangerous than guns. Right? We've seen several examples, both in the United States and around the world, of people being killed by cars intentionally, using a car as a weapon. I can now call them assault cars. Right? They are. They are absolutely assault cars. Now, I want to continue. And if you've got a super chat donation, I'm sorry, you got a question and a super chat donation, just like Opie here, get it on in because I want to address everyone's thoughts that I can. Opie Waddell says, we support LGBTQP. Let's get Biden to quit, please. LGBTQP is let's get Biden to quit, please. That's great, man. I haven't heard that one yet. That is fabulous. Yeah, let's get Biden to quit, please. That is LGBTQP. I'm just done with the LGBS. I'll talk about that some more. Woo! We got a lot to talk about. Bernard Shreve Jr. checks in with a 556 super chat donation. And he asked this, has Congress thought about how the American citizens are going to defend our country without the AR when our chief is starting fights with the world? Oh, yeah, pretty interesting, huh? Let's see if, Joe Biden wants to start a pissing match in a fight with Russia. I think that shouldn't we be worried about Russia invading the United States? What about North Korea? They hate the United States. What about Iran? They hate the United States. What about China? China just threatened the United States of America. How are we, the American people, supposed to defend our country the way the Ukrainian people are having to defend their country against Russia? Right? We're supposed to see that as, yeah, let's support those freedom-fighting Ukrainians so they can defeat the bad Russians. Send them your civilian plinking guns, right? Yeah, we're supposed to give up our guns to the Ukrainians so they can fight the invading country. What happens when we're invaded? Right, Congress? Oh, they're so stupid, folks. They're so stupid. And this it's not even about the bad guys being criminally insane, screwballs. Thank you, Bernard Shreve Jr. Great topic. But I'm going to shift gears a little bit here to the great state of Florida and Governor DeSantis down there. And he says that in order to fix the problem, we need to target gun lunatics, not the guns themselves. Once again, is it the spoon that makes the fat person fat, or is it the fat person using the spoon to overeat? And folks, I am considered morbidly obese. Did you know that? Based on my weight and height, I'm considered morbidly obese. In fact, I think they've now removed that term from the medical lexicon. Morbidly obese, no longer allowed to be discussed. Whoa. Cheers, everybody. Oof. Belizean rum. Not bad. Well, let me get another one lined up there. Governor DeSantis has proven to be quite an ally of freedom, quite the lover of freedom. He says that he wants to focus on gun lunatics rather than targeting the Second Amendment rights when it comes to preventing mass shootings. He says, quote, when you're dealing with gun-related crime, right, you focus on the criminal. He said you focus on the lunatic. You don't kneecap the rights of law-abiding citizens. Now, Governor DeSantis locked down the state of Florida for a brief time over cerveza bug. A very brief time. And then he said, you know what, we're done with that. It didn't work. It didn't stop anything. And he came to his senses. One of the first governors to go that far, right? Opened up Florida and proved all of the medical experts wrong. Right? It's an incredible battle we're up against. Government deciding what is best for us. They know, they claim, right? We're going to take your guns and that'll fix everything because of lunatics. But you don't need to worry about other countries invading, even though we just witnessed, right, a country being invaded by another superpower, Russia. We're supposed to, of course, we're supposed to feel bad for them and send them all of our guns, but we don't have the right to have our own guns to protect ourselves in case of invasion. They can't do it, right? They can't. One second, let me adjust my lighting here. They cannot justify their thinking because it's irrational. They can't do it. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, well, we need to make sure the people of the world can protect themselves from a dangerous leaders like Putin or Xi Jinping. You can't do that and then say, well, you have to turn in all your guns. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. Okay. Now, this will give us. Oh shoot! Before I we got Crazy Uncle with a super chat donation. It says prepper tip number 2: if it hits the fan, make sure you have some Pepto on standby. You will have enough shit to deal with without a case of swamp ass from MREs. This goes along. It's a great tip. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan, right? You've got to have all that stuff. But one of them is medicine. Medicine doesn't mean just antibiotics or cerveza bug fighting drugs. Medicine is not just your heart pills or any other medications that have been prescribed, right? It includes everyday remedies like Pepto-Bismol or Maalox or Tums or Rolaids, whatever it is you need so that you can deal with issues. And I think there's going to be a lot of that. For those who are, shall we say, more practiced with your food, I recommend that you eat your commando chow. You learn what it tastes like, how your body reacts to it. Because if it's going to make you sick, right? If it's going to make you sick and not feel good, then you're going to want the proper remedy to deal with it. Get your body used to eating this stuff, folks. I strongly recommend that now, especially since we're getting into shittier times. Food shortages coming up. Food shortages coming up, folks. I'm surprised we haven't heard more about ammo shortages through the prepper networks. But yeah, we've got shortages coming up. People are going to be having to eat their commando chow. It's not going to be a pretty scene, folks. But certainly, yeah, have your Maalox so you can have a Maalox moment. And it's gonna be bad. Oh, look at this! It just popped up on my news feed. But first, Cottage Farm checks in with a $20 super chat donation. We'll sip you on that. Woo! Says Supreme Court ruled that police do not have a duty to protect. So, is there a part 2, or do I get to carry on with this? Anyways, Cottage Farm is absolutely right. The Supreme Court ruled that police do not have a duty to protect individuals, right? They're engaged in the practice of protecting the general peace, trying to ensure that general peace. Police, they're enforcing policy, that is to say, ordinance or rules made by locals. And I think a lot of these rules are actually unconstitutional. Be that as it may, that's what the police are there to do, to write traffic tickets. That's right, folks. That's their job. Policy. They are policing us over their policy. Local politicians have policy. And so that's what the police are there to do. They put to serve and protect, right? They put that on their cars, right? Now, a lot of law enforcement really are heroic types. A lot of sheriff's deputies also and sheriffs out there. But for the most part, they're not there to protect. They don't have a duty. There's no requirement, right? They are there and they primarily protect themselves and one another. They enforce policy, and they may or may not deal with a problem. Now, it's important to note that I think the average response time in the country for an emergency requiring, shall we say, life-saving police action, I think the average arrival time is 12 minutes. right? They claimed they were there in 4 minutes in Uvalde, Texas. Others claim it was more, but be that as it may, 4 minutes is pretty fast because the call has to go into the police. Someone has to see something bad happening, get to a phone, make a call, and then it's going to be an average of, I think, 12 minutes in response. You're looking, folks, somewhere between 15 and minutes or longer, right, to get someone there who may or may not take any action. That's why we have a Second Amendment right, an inalienable Second Amendment right. Now, you'll notice here on the Prepared Mind channel that women like Cottage Farm and Darcy, DDG, many others, right, they're very, very, very much into self-defense because the gun is an equalizing factor. It doesn't matter whether you're that little gray-haired old lady off of Golden Girls. It doesn't matter if it's a 10, 12, 6-year-old girl. These children, folks, have used guns to defend themselves against burglars and thieves and rapists. Oh, and human traffickers. They have defended themselves using their parents' guns that they didn't have access to, but somehow they were able to get them and protect themselves and save their lives. Women have chased off home invasion robbers with guns. Without them, you are at just a huge disadvantage. Baseball bat, baseball bat is not a sufficient weapon to keep an attacker off of you, especially if there's more than one, right? It is the gun that offers this unique, life-giving power. It's incredible what the gun does. It makes a big, mean, vicious criminal scumbag want to step back. What do you think politicians are, folks? They're bullies. They're absolute bullies. Politicians are bullies. What do they want to do? They want to take your guns. They want to hurt you any way they wish with their rules, right? Rules. They want you to obey. They want you to pay taxes. They want you to listen to what they have to say and do exactly as they say. They want you to give up your cars, give up your barbecues, give up your heating, give up all your money, pay more in taxes. They want to push you around and push you down and beat you down and then tell you, well, it's your duty to obey me because I'm the government. That is exactly what every tyrant and scumbag in the universe has ever said. Okay, now, I've got this right here. It says, a Patriot Front member. Remember, these are the guys that we're being told are the right-wing, radical, white supremacist types. He was arrested, this one guy, arrested in Idaho, and someone snapped a picture of it. They got a picture of him, the press is there snapping a picture, and guess what? He had a megaphone, and written on that megaphone, it was marked FBI. He had an FBI megaphone, folks. Do they sell those at the supermarket, at Kmart, Walmart, Food Mart, S-Mart, Shop S, Shop Smart, Shop S-Mart, right? Where do you get an FBI megaphone from? Does the FBI have garage sales every week? Is that where they got it? Or is this an example of an agent provocateur who works for the FBI, who was given equipment and said, hey, use this in your little game you're playing? It's a big whoops, folks. Oops, they got caught again. Unbelievable, folks, what is going on. Yep. And AOC is not going to endorse Joe Biden. I don't blame her. All right, we got Dog Nuts in the house, or Donuts. $5 super chat donation. He says, I've yet to see a judge put a gun in jail for a crime. It's usually people. Now, that would be interesting, don't you think? I really like this, Donuts. If the gun is the problem, the gun should be going to jail. It's ridiculous, is it not? But the gun is being blamed in every instance. The gun is being blamed. Right? It'd be like a doctor cutting off someone's limb in an operation. And he did the total wrong surgery, took someone's leg off. And then he says, hey, it wasn't me. It was the scalpel. Unbelievable. Oh, by the way, and thank you very much, Donuts, for the great donation. Goes into our super chat funds, right? And takes care, make sure the lights are on, make sure we've got Spam and tuna fish in the fridge. 1 second, emergency here. Oh, yeah. Went out training this weekend. Did some training and overworked myself. I strongly recommend that you get in good physical shape, good condition. It's something that I've been working on. And but boy, you know, there's trouble with it. And I guess that really brings up a good point at this time. And that is imagine how hard it's going to be in SHTF if it gets really nasty, really rough, food shortages, water issues, fuel shortages, people getting crazy, Mad Max type stuff. I had lots of water, a good dinner, right? Good food, lunch, whatever you want to call it. I've been working out, training hard, and I'm sore, I'm stiff, my muscles cramp, right? This is what happens, in real life. In the movies, people can run a marathon, right, with a car on their back and a baby under their arm. That's not real life. Real life, you sprain your ankle, you twist things, joints swell up. Shit happens, right? When it hits the fan, for real, right? You're going to be doing things a lot different than normal. You're going to be wearing a lot of different equipment and clothing. Are you used to it? You're going to be eating different food. Are you used to it? Right? You're going to be physically drained and exhausted. Are you used to operating under those conditions? Just practicing these things. I'm just sitting here going, yeah, boy, it's rough. Imagine how rough it's going to be for the other people on the other side who don't have good food, who don't have safe, good water, who don't have the right equipment, who are tired, scared, angry, and uncertain. Imagine how hard it's going to be for them. You as a prepper, even if you get a sprained ankle or a sprained thumb or you're tired, exhausted, and beat down, imagine how messed up and difficult it is going to be for the adversarial side, the bad guys. Imagine how hard it's going to be for them. The reason I bring this up is to say we're going to be in a lot better shape and condition than they are, even though, right, I'm just beat from this weekend. I went out, got some fresh air, a lot of exercise, and I'm roughed up. But I also got to tell you, I am really pissed off. I am really energized. Right? I'm really worried about the plight of our nation. I'm worried about you guys. I'm concerned about you as real Americans. Now, knowing this about real Americans, folks, get this. Ukraine, it's not America. It's not a little America. It's not like an American state. Ukraine is a country that has been taken over back in 2014. It was taken over by a bunch of thugs with a Nazi military. Literally, they put together a Nazi military, folks. But they are now afraid in Ukraine that Western support is waning. It's going away, right? War fatigue is what they're calling it. Well, it's a big duh, right? Let's call it American Attention Deficit Disorder, right? AADD, right? Well, the war over in Ukraine is past 100 days in length. And I think Americans have forgotten why we went and decided to start supporting that. It's obvious, folks. The attention span of Americans and indeed people around the world is very short. They have to constantly be reminded by government when we're pushed in a direction that we don't want to go. Now, they've pushed in a direction and we don't want to go, but we're reminded of this every day, right? Food, fuel, electricity, freedom. Our economy is just taking a shit right now. And we're being reminded of that on a daily basis. Americans want to forget cerveza bug and Jim Jones juice and all this shit, and the government's trying to back off on that. We're tired of this shit about Ukraine, and it looks like they're backing off and pushing that. And Americans are getting really pissed off at gas prices, food prices, baby formula prices. We're reminded of that every day. Reminded of that every single day. I mean, this was incredible, folks. In California, the largest pork company in the United States has shut down its California plant because of high cost, the cost of doing business. Well, guess what? It should be no more bacon for Californians. I love you, Californians. You know, I'm one of you. I was born there, right? But Smithfield Foods is shutting down its pork plant in Vernon, California, right? They're scaling back also, folks. They're scaling back in Utah and Arizona, right? They're going to cease all harvest and processing operations. What do you think that's going to do to the food supply? Right? It's going to reduce its sow herd in its western region. Really? Right? And they're blaming this on the escalating cost of doing business in California. So how does that make any sense? We need food, and pork, folks, even though a lot of us don't eat pork, pork is inexpensive, right? The cost of grain or food, the amount of protein you get for the amount of feed you give animals, it's kind of your food to meat ratio on pork is very high. It's one of the least expensive out there. It's for that reason very popular, and in China that's really very popular. It's incredible what they're doing to this country, folks. Smithfield is the largest meat company, meat processor, butcher plant, whatever you want to call it. They're the largest, period. And if they start shutting down plants and reducing the size of the herds of cattle, whether it's chickens or turkeys or beef or cow or what you name it, folks, we're in trouble. The uber powerful have told us, oh yeah, you need to eat bugs. You need to eat our fake meat that comes out of a vat, a distilling vat. It is disgusting what's going on out there. And folks, there's going to be a price to pay. And it's a price, folks, that I don't think we can pay. I don't think we can pay for food that's that expensive. I don't. I really don't. I don't think America is going to be able to handle it. It's just that bad. Okay, we got Mr. Skylight checking in with a $19.99 super chat donation. And he's got a great quote for us, folks. Here's the quote. I'm a greater believer in luck, and I find the harder I work, the more I have of it, says Thomas Jefferson. And God helps those who help themselves. That's a quote that my mom used to love to tell me, right? God helps those who help themselves. Now, Thomas Jefferson says, I'm a greater believer in luck, and I find the harder I work, the more I have of it. I think that you and I, as Americans and preppers, we have a great deal of luck. Now, like if you've ever heard of anybody and they say, man, I did great, man. I invested in Apple back in the 1980s. And someone says, man, you're lucky. Is it luck, or was that person smart? They did a lot of research. They were dedicated. They were certain of the decisions they made and the thoughts they had. They were able to look at the history, the past, where they're at today, and kind of look into the future and predict what's going on. Based on that information, they made a decision. I'm going to invest in Apple. And Apple stock just rose and rose and went up and up and up all the way, right? Well, that person kind of made their own luck, right? By working hard, you have more luck. Now, as Americans, we work hard. We pay attention to history. Where are we at today? And we look into the future. And we say, you know what? I'm going to be a prepper. That's the kind of patriot I am. I believe I should have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan, right? I need to have all of these things. And I need to pay attention, which is what we do on the Prepared Mind Network right here. We pay attention to what is happening out there. And by doing so, we put ourselves in a position to be less hungry more prepared, less scared, better rested, healthier. And how many people have taken the Jim Jones juice and just keeled over dying? How many people have taken the Jim Jones juice and just gotten sick and stayed sick and they're not getting better? How many people have taken the Jim Jones juice and have had intermittent problems, different health issues that are sometimes worse and sometimes mild? How many people have taken that shit and been sick for days and then they said, well, I'm better now, but they're really not? How many people, folks? Now, in 5 years, people are going to look back and go, wait a minute, Mr. Skylight, you didn't take the Jim Jones juice. And you're going to say, that's right, I didn't. Thank you, Jolene. I got the message. Right? You're going to say that. You're going to be like, yeah, you didn't take it. You must be lucky. You sure are lucky. Well, the harder you work, Mr. Skylight, because you, Mr. Skylight, have worked so hard. You gathered information. You looked at the past. You saw where we're at. You looked in the future and said, I ain't taking that Jim Jones juice shit. And because of that, you're lucky, or were you smart, right? The harder you work, folks, the more you learn, the more you apply what you learn, and we do a lot of it here, right? The lucky you're going to be in the future. Now, I'm not saying that life is going to be smooth and easy. Certainly not as smooth as this Belizean rum. It's got a nice parrot on the label, so it must be good for me. Anyways, cheers. Here's to being prepared. Here's to being smart, right? Here's to intelligently practicing what we know to be right. There it is. Thank you, Mr. Skylight, for that great donation and your continuing support, not only financially here, but also on the backside by sending me information, links. Folks, all of you are responsible for the information that's been provided that I get. I do my own research, but you guys send me stuff. It is a collaboration between me and you. Always. It is us. It is the Prepared Mind Network, right? The Prepared Mind Network. I've been branded the Prophet of Prepping, which is a secular title. It's just a nickname, right? But all of us together, we work pretty hard, and it's just absolutely fantastic. What do we have next, Jolene? We've got Blue Cord Devil with a $50. I'm going to be in trouble. Super chat donation. And he says, since moving, I've been able to find ammo easier than back on the left coast. Finally found some for the wife's hand cannon 44 Magnum. Cheers to that, man. $50 super chat donations result in this. Here we go. Woo! Thank you, Blue Cord Devil. And yeah, ammunition. It is where you find it. I get a lot of advertisements, offers in the emails all the time. I haven't had as much trouble as I've had at times past, but it's going to get really tight again, I think, as they pass legislation or attempt to pass legislation. We've got trouble, folks. We've got a lot of trouble. Government is trying to show us that we don't have rights. Governors like DeSantis, especially, and I hope Abbott and many others come out and say, no. The Second Amendment is not up for grabs. It's not a debate. The debate, as Kaz would like to say, was back in 1776. Kaz, of course, being the Fourth Dimension host, his channel on YouTube. In fact, if you want to know, folks, there's tons of websites, YouTube channels, and other channels out there on different social media that are talking about the same things or similar things, or maybe they're talking about how to get prepared food-wise. And so they talk about food all the time, how to grow food, can food, process food, store food, etc. Other sites are interested in self-defense, whether it's throwing knives or shooting guns or whatever. Find that information on theRsyndicate.com. Thank you, Blue Cord Devil. Awesome. And I'm glad that the little wife has a 44 hand cannon. Like the 44 mag, devastating. Dominic Buscemi checking in with a $10 super chat donation. And this is very interesting. He says, we live in lawless times where the psychopaths who control political puppets have usurped our republic. By the way, do you watch Salty Cracker? The answer is no. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I do not watch the Salty Cracker. I don't have time to watch everyone and everything. And so I judiciously, very carefully sift through information. And I do read opinions. And I've heard his opinion, right, on a lot of things. But I try and stay buried in digging up information. And I do go out and I search for other people's opinions because I want to know what others are thinking as well. And the reason I do that is to ensure that I'm grounded, that I'm well grounded, that my thinking doesn't go off base, right? That I'm not too far in this direction or too far in that direction. What is most important, right? That's where I want to focus: life, liberty, and the right to be free. I mean, it's such a simple formula. Is something happening out there that is going to take away my rights or your rights, and that makes it wrong? Right? Is someone out there trying to help me or hurt me? And I can use history as an example. I can use other rules and laws, right? And I do believe we live in lawless times. I do. Here's an example. Nancy Pelosi showed up on RuPaul's television show Drag Race again, right? And this is what she said, quote, "This is what America is all about." Really? The Speaker of the House, the third most powerful elected person in the country, says that drag queens is what America is all about. So George Washington, Paul Revere, Andrew Jackson, and all, they were all about sexualizing themselves and parading in public for perverse gratitude seeking. That's what America is all about. No, folks. Those that are bound by law to obey the Constitution and serve us are psychopaths, right? They are just absolutely, shall we say, morally bankrupt. And that is Nancy Pelosi. That's the lawlessness. Those are the psychopaths that say you don't have the right to do anything. I mean, Justin Trudeau says, well, Canadians don't have a right to defend themselves. Really? Unbelievable, folks. Unfreaking believable. The U.S. Department of Defense has finally come clean, folks. They've admitted in public documents that there are 46 U.S. military-funded biolabs in Ukraine. Let me say that again. They admitted in a public document that there are 46, not 26. There are 46, not biolabs, but U.S. military-funded biolabs in Ukraine. Why are there 46 U.S. military-funded biolabs in Ukraine? Government lawlessness. Why aren't those biolabs here in the United States of America, where responsible, moral, military, biological research can do what? What are they studying, right? The military is all about finding ways to kill people more effectively. Well, at least it used to be. Now it's about how to wear fishnet stockings and fingernail polish and what uniform looks best. When are they going to come up with the rainbow ribbon, right? The rainbow ribbon. You get all your ribbons and badges you get to wear on your breast in military uniform when you wear your alphas or your blues, your dress uniforms. When is there going to be, I took one in the ass ribbons, right? Unbelievable, folks. U.S. military-funded biolabs, 46 of them in Ukraine. Can you believe it? All right, Jolene, what do we got up next? Bernard Shreve Jr. with another super chat donation, $2. He says, I pray the body armor gets here in time. AR-5, he bought the AR-500A1. It's a great system. The Prepared Mind, this guy owns AR 500 body armor. Just in case anyone wondered, and I've worn it in shows past. It works, folks. We did an episode where my sons and I went out and shot up one of the plates. We hit it with a 357. We hit it with a 45. We hit it with 223. We hit it with 8mm Mauser, and then we blew it up with Tannerite. Still makes me laugh. Anyways, that body armor is freaking tough. Oh, shotgun slug. Hit that plate, the armor plate, with shotgun slug. And that did the most damage. It dented the armor plate in that AR 500 system. Anyways, the AR 500, that company is associated with the Prepared Mind Network. We are an affiliate of theirs, or they are an affiliate of ours, if you will. We're affiliated. And so if you go to the preparedmind.club, you can buy your armor there. Now, my experience with them, even though it was years ago when I bought them, Bernard, they're very responsive, very quick, and I hope that you get it very, very soon. There's a feeling of satisfaction wearing a well-made piece of gear, and it's heavy duty, and it's very adjustable to fit whatever frame you have. Now, my frame is kind of big, being 6'6" and 260 something pounds. Kind of a large person. So getting it on, it takes a little effort. Once you get it on, getting it adjusted, and then, you're protected. Very, very important. Thank you, Bernard Tree, for the great donation. And yes, get that IR 500 in there. And then DDG checks in. Uh-oh. She said, hey, John, over here debating, should I say hi to John? Then you said my name. So hi, John. Also, no more Patreon? I'll tell you what, Dee, no Patreon. They didn't like the fact that I don't just jump up and down and praise all of the proud people out there. The only reason I don't praise the Proud Month, or Month Pride, or Pride Month, is it's not about, where's the American Pride Month? Where's the Freedom Pride Month? It's all gay pride all the time. Anyways, apparently Patreon didn't really like me sharing my opinion about the LGBS crowd. And so no more Patreon. But we will, Dee, be starting a new channel, a protected free speech channel. And then Jolene's going to go in and put the armor, the armor of truth on it, and protect it even further. So that is coming up. It's coming up very soon. This week, we hope to announce when the new premium service goes into account, so that you guys can participate by being premium subscribers. That you can participate on a daily basis, and it'll be great. It'll be very similar to Patreon in that there'll be 2 videos in the morning and a live one in the afternoon, just like we're doing with YouTube right now. But it'll be, we'll have a membership way to protect ourselves. Anyways, it is coming, folks. Absolutely, it's coming. Right? Now, people want to hear what you and I have to say, but we're silenced. Right? They want to silence us because, Biden says we're the most extreme people on the planet.
Because this MAGA crowd is really the most extreme political organization that's existed in American history.
So we're extreme. Folks, we're not stupid. Joe Biden, we're not stupid. You are, right? Now, there's a poll that came out, said that most Americans believe the Biden administration is intentionally letting gas prices rise. People believe that because, well, that's what the evidence suggests based on the decisions they're making. There's no decisions being made to fix any of the problems, right? That's pretty extreme, don't you think? When Americans, every family in America is now having to pay double for their fuel. Electricity prices are going to double. Food prices are doubling. Who's the extremist? Who's causing problems? Unbelievable. But goose-stepping liberals, folks. Goose-stepping liberals. They're going to march in lockstep with Joe Biden and the agenda and how they are radical and extremists and crazy. It's not me and it's not you, folks. It's them. And there it is. Wow. I tell you what, folks, what's going on in our country? What do you want to talk about? This is your chance. It is Sunday Night Live. It is the zoo. And we've got Cottage Farm. Oh, no. She's back. Thank you, Cottage Farm. Like I said, $50 and up super chats. They give me pause and they give me cause and to relax. This week is going to be incredible. Absolutely incredible. It is coming, folks. Some things are going to happen. I'm expecting another big false flag out there. Another big false flag. We need to stick together. You and I, America. Godspeed, Semper Fi. Potent. Thank you, Cottage Farm. She says, isn't it crazy? I never thought it would come. But here we are, over half a century old, and we are prepared and ready to get our SHTF on, aka live comfortably. Retirement, LOL, what's that? Right? Retirement. Yeah, I'm 52. Did you know that it's not the exact same thing, but very close to it. 50 years ago, the same things happened. They screwed up the money system. They screwed up the fuel system. So they had to raise prices, right? They had to raise prices on fuel. The dollar took a giant shit. Inflation went through the roof. Interest rates started raising, right? Now, I've lived my life, right? I started my life in the middle of that crap in the 70s. And here we are today, right? 50 years later, reliving it. Only there's one difference. And I think it's a very important difference. Very important difference. Thank you, Jolene. The difference is that now the government, instead of trying to make America great again, to make America prosperous, America, the government, the U.S. government, not the government of the United States of America, the U.S. government, is trying to destroy our Constitution instead of preserve and protect it. Big difference, right? Big difference, huge difference. Unbelievable. The good part about this, Cottage Farm, you, I, and others, is we are prepared. Let me catch my breath, though. Got rum. Got to put some more liquid in there. Okay. We're ready to get our SHTF on. You bet. We've been thinking, planning, watching, learning. If you're 50 years or older, you lived through the 70s and remember it. You lived through the Carter years. And then you saw the pain in the beginning of the Reagan years, right? We put up with the end of that Soviet Union thing. Communism, right? The great enemy of the world, communism, was defeated. And then here we are just a few decades again later, and they're asking for it all over again. It's incredible, folks. It's absolutely incredible. I tell you. I tell you. Now what was amazing, and this is interesting. Hang on to that for a second. For the Barack Hussein Barrow-Soetoro Obama administration, he was getting elected. He claimed, right, that the youth, the young Americans were voting for him. They voted for hope and change. And it was the young voters who were going to carry the Democrats into power. Well, Barack won. He won, right? And it's not like he was, I don't know how to say this. McCain was not a great candidate, but that was better than Barack. Anyways, we got all the way through. And the youth were supposedly voting for Hillary. And then no one gave a shit about Biden, and he won with the greatest amount of votes ever, right? Biden and his approval has now fallen to 22% among young adults, right? Nobody likes Biden. Nobody at all, right? Everyone is blaming him for what's happening. Inflation, shortages, right? I'm betting that in 2024, Biden wins in a landslide and gets 99% of the popular vote. We're living in times, folks. Thugs, liars, cheats, thieves. They're in charge, and they want to take away your Second Amendment right. Understand where we're at in history, folks. They're not our friends. They're not our allies. They're not going to protect us. They're going to do everything they can to turn us against one another, to hurt each other, to hurt ourselves. That's what is coming right now. Are you prepared? And I know I say it all the time, right? Chance favors the prepared mind. Are you prepared? Get prepared. Do it now. Go to thepreparedmind.club. Tell friends, tell family, share this address up here. Do all of that, right? All the time we say it because it's that important. Okay, what do we have? I think we had Jennifer Stevens with a $9.99 super chat donation. Thank you very much. It's a super sticker. And I actually have a relative named Jennifer Stevens. I have a relative named Jennifer Stevens. I wonder if it's the same. No telling. All right, Jolene, what else have we got? We got Orlando. Our good man Orlando is back with a super chat donation of $10. And Orlando says this: we need to collect all their burn bags and see what else we can uncover. Like Penguin says, a lot of tape and a little patience makes all the difference. That's a good one, man. There is a lot, if we're just going to cover this, a lot that is being covered up. Hillary has got so much garbage in her life, her world covered up. It is unbelievable. It's unconscionable what they can cover up and get away with. Hunter Biden, folks. Hunter Biden, right? Unbelievable. What have these people gotten away with, folks? What has the Biden family gotten away with, right? The laptop from hell, right? All of the kickbacks for the big guy, right?
3321 Pasadena Avenue, suspect vehicle at location.
The Biden crime family, the Clinton crime family, the Obama crime family, and they're just puppets of people who are even more powerful. But they're using every dirty trick right now. Every dirty trick, every blackmail, every threat, every bribe, every control file they have on all these politicians in Washington to push an attempt to take down our Second Amendment. It shouldn't be allowed to happen, folks, and you don't have to obey it anyway. But who's the radicals? Radicals, folks, use lawless methods, right? And then they, of course, try covering their tracks and pretending it didn't happen. Crazy stuff is going on. All righty. This is incredible. Oh, well, before I get to that, let's talk about Truth Action and a $4.99 super chat donation. He says, funny, it still shows me on the website that I am a patron of the Prepared Mind. I do not know if they still take my money. Wait till the first two cank. I tell you what, Patreon. We're done with them. Cancel your subscriptions there. We don't get any money from them. We're not going to get any premium money to help run our operation, to pay for the services, the computers, all of our research we do. No, Patreon done. Cut them off. Just cut them off. We're done with them. I don't know if they're trying to pretend like, oh, no, you're welcome back. F you, fuck off, Patreon. Free speech is free speech. We aren't hate. We don't hurt anyone. It's ridiculous. Okay. We got Blue Court Devil checking in with a 762 super chat donation. He says, been retired by the Army since I was 29, turning 50 this month. Saw this coming since Slick Willie was getting Hummers in the White House. Yeah, I tell you, a lot of us have been well aware. Well aware. Well, I guess my big mistake, even though it turns out to be a blessing in disguise, is I paid attention in history. I found history to be fascinating. Now, even though I found it fascinating, I thought, what practical purpose does history have? It's just the past. And I went all through high school, folks, thinking that, well, history is really interesting. I like the cool stories. Makes for good movies, like Kelly's Heroes and Valkyrie and all. But I didn't really see the applicability of history until I got into my early and mid-20s. And then it all started to click. Everything kind of clicked into place. And I started seeing it, how history teaches us what is coming next. And it's been right. History has been a fabulous guide, folks, fabulous. Now, we've talked about Taiwan and China. I really think this is going to become a bigger issue here, a bigger issue. Thank you, Jolene. A senior Chinese economist, right, proposed that Beijing is going to take over Taiwan and the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Why would he mention the Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation? Right, he says they're going to take over Taiwan and the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing. It's because Taiwan is responsible for manufacturing a massive, folks, percentage of the semiconductors in the world. They manufacture the most. And these semiconductors, right, computer chips, the world runs on them. Let's see, Russia is responsible for controlling Europe with oil, gas, coal, uranium, rare earths, precious metals that are industrial in nature, like rhodium and palladium and platinum. They have incredible mines in Russia. So they control us and they profit off of us. China would love to have even more power and control. And bringing Taiwan under the control satisfies their lusts as well as their desire financially, economically. But this Chinese economist said, quote, if the United States and the West impose destructive sanctions on China as they have treated Russia, we must recover Taiwan. This was Chen Wenling. Folks, China is telling Biden what they want to happen, right? Be prepared for a U.S. sanction of China over something. And China is going to respond, right, by saying, well, if you're going to do that to us, then we're going to take over Taiwan and the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC. It's incredible, folks. What is coming? What do you see? Look back at history. Look back at history. Let's look at Adolf Hitler. Right, he invaded Poland first. Why did he invade Poland? Because Poland was antagonizing Hitler. And so it became his job, he thought, to liberate Poland, right, to bring them into the fold. That was the beginning of a very bad ending for world peace. Unbelievable, folks. History has so much to teach us. All we have to do is pay attention. All we have to do. We got Truth Faction with a $1.99 super chat donation. He says, I just want to see if the fraud me next month kill. Oh boy, man, I got to read that again. I just want to see if the fraud me next month kill. Jolene took it down. I couldn't. I may have had a little too much rum. Let me make sure this is rum and not floor cleaner. Nope, it's rum. It's rum. If you could, man, rewrite that and we'll read it again and get into it. But Red Phil Files checks in with a 556 super chat donation. He says, John, have you seen 2,000 mules? No, but I've seen 2,000 head of cattle heading hell-bent for the southern border. He says, I read that leading to arrest And what's next is so much bigger. I tell you what, Red Pill Files, the 2000 Mules is a documentary, right? It is an expose. It shows, and I have to be very careful here, folks. It shows all kinds of fraud and criminal behavior, and fraud is criminal behavior, right? Cheating is criminal behavior when it comes to public politics. There are people, there are players, there are corporations, and they look guilty as hell. It is almost irrefutable. I don't know how you refute the evidence that has been demonstrated in 2000 Mules. I don't think it can be done. We're starting to see other states stepping up. We're starting to hear of other investigations being started. Right? It needs to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen fast enough to have an effect in the 2022 midterm election, but I hope it does. Now, the fact that the mainstream media is absolutely ignoring 2000 Mules. Oh, by the way, 2000 Mules is the name of the documentary expose on what happened a couple years ago. Got to be careful on the topics, folks. I recommend watching it. All of us, me, you, us, preppers, we've been engaged in observing everything. We've been observing, watching how censorship is used to silence me, to silence you, to silence all of us. We've watched that. It is absolutely incredible. It is mind-numbing. It is heartbreaking that the American people are being deprived of this information. We're being hurt constantly, folks. And the people in charge, they think it's just fine. It's not. It's not just fine. Anyways, what's coming next should be massive arrests. There should be, and I don't know if there are, but I hear there are grand juries convened looking into what happened. There needs to be prosecutors and district attorneys, right? And if they don't do their jobs, the attorney general should go after them. But here's the question. Does anyone think they're big enough to bring down the entire system? All the cheating, lying, screwing, and everything else. Do they think they're powerful enough? Can they withstand that? Now, after the John F. Kennedy assassination, and here goes John on some more history. After the John F. Kennedy assassination, a rather ambitious district attorney named Jim Garrison went after some suspects that he had, like Clay Shaw, also known as Clay Bertram, and others who were involved or were suspected of being involved in the murder of an assassination of John F. Kennedy. And he didn't care when he discovered, the Secret Service was in on it. Yeah, the mafia. Yeah, the Dallas Police Department. Yeah, right? Some mercenary troops. The CIA, right? Was it E. Howard Hunt? Just the business moguls involved. So much came out, right? And Jim Garrison wasn't killed. In fact, Jim Garrison, the attorney that took on, right, the establishment and everybody, well, he didn't get snuffed out, folks. He was a very public and charismatic speaker. He actually had a role. He had a part to play in the movie JFK that Oliver Stone did. He played Chief Justice Warren, I believe, in the movie. But do the people that did 2000 Mules, they've done the expose. They've shown who the bad guys are, right? Do the district attorneys and prosecutors out there, do the attorney generals of each state, do they have the guts to do what should be done and stand up for our republic, right? Or are we going to be left with a sham of a democracy and a shell of a great nation and shit hitting the fan for all of us harder and harder? Unbelievable. By the way, the Texas power grid operator says we should brace for extreme temperatures and energy rates. They're going to be doubled. Well, that's just good news, huh? Truth Faction, he says, okay, here we go. I just want to see if Patreon keeps taking my patron money. It shows me as a patron still. USMC, kill, 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 Semper Fi. Now I got you, brother. Now I'm with you. What makes the grass grow? Blood, blood, blood. Semper Fi to all. Right. Now back to Blue Core Devil. Yep. Saw this one coming since Slick Willie was getting Hummers in the White House. There we go. Blue Core Devil now says, since then I've been preparing. The biggest prep has been with this move being debt free. Own your land, own your home outright. You can do work to pay taxes. And that's really what it comes down to, folks. If you can own a home, you own it outright. Outright. All you got to do is work enough just to pay the tax on the property. Now, for the most part, you have John Galton, right? You've said, that's it, I'm not doing anything else. I'm not going to contribute to the system. I'm not going to go out and get a $100,000 a year, $200,000, $300,000 a year job and work to the maximum effect so that I can pay the most in taxes. You know, I talked to Chris P. Bacon about that, and he worked, he has a very interesting career. Right. And I was disgusted to learn how much he paid in taxes in his life. It's incredible. The harder you work, the bigger a percentage you pay. The more successful you are, the bigger a percentage you pay. It's incredible, right? Why do that? To support a system that just gives your money away to people who haven't earned it or done anything and will never do anything and amount to anything, right? You're just a tax mule, just a tax mule. But yes, I'm glad, Blue Core Devil, you own everything. And yeah, the biggest challenge out there is being debt free. How do you eat? I mean, you have to have a job. You have to bust your ass just to stay alive, right? Much less live really well. But living well, I think we all should be allowed to do. If you understand mathematics and economic function, we should all work 40 years. We should all have enough money saved after that 40 years and be able to live very comfortably and very well on the interest alone that the bank should pay us. There's a couple things wrong with that in today's world. Number one, you don't get enough interest to live on that money. You can't save enough money because you're punished with inflation. And you can't earn that money anymore because of this punitive, progressive, communist tax. And that is one of the planks, one of the foundation blocks, if you will, of Marxism, and that is a progressive income tax. It punishes anyone from working harder. And people do work harder because it's in their nature, and then they just pay a lot more right back into the government. Unbelievable, folks. Unfreaking believable. We just passed the 2-hour mark, and Bernard Shreve Jr. is back, and he says, you know, after 2 decades of prepping, I still feel I'm at the 8-ball. Body armor was the last item to complete it. I'm shocked it has come to this. I'm sure, Bernard, like all of us, you continually take a look at your preps. Your food, is it good? Do you have the ability to store water, purify water, treat water? You look and go, medicines, right? What do I need for that? Clothing, my shelter, my bunker, my home. You know, what self-defense items do I need? Communications equipment, radios, CBs, ham radios, shortwave radios. Do I need world band radio? You know, power. Do I need solar power? I mean, you can make prepping very comprehensive and, for the most part, very comfortable for yourself. But it's only comfortable relative to how other people are doing. And I think that's going to be something that we're all going to get a good taste of when things get really nasty. Is we're going to be doing a lot better than the average person. But the average person is going to be very upset, very mad. They're not going to like to hear that some are doing better than others, right? They're going to be very angry about it in some cases. We need to be prepared for everything that's going to be coming. All right. We're past the 2-hour mark. And Jolene, do we have more super chats? I've got more things I want to talk about, but I wanted to have a little fun. And folks, we have almost 700 people live after 2 hours still. Thank you, Jolene. And I want to bring on our special guest tonight. It is none other than our good buddy, Mr. Blue Wrench himself. It's Ruman.
Hey folks, how you doing?
Uh-oh, we're getting some feedback there, Ruman.
Okay, let me reset the mic one more time.
Okay. We wanted everyone to see it's not just me, it's Oliver, it's Jolene, it's Crispy Bacon, it's Vaughn, it's Kaz. The whole R Syndicate team is out there. Anyways, Oliver, I know that you're in the world of computers and machining and all kinds of crazy stuff out there. So I wanted to throw something at you.
All right. How's
just for a
that
little fun,
better?
but you do have your beverage at hand, don't you? Okay. Yep. Always. You have to stay hydrated. I think that's really critical, man. Really critical. Anyways, I just wanted to bring this one topic up, and I wanted to wait till we were all caught up on super chats and then bring this up. There's a Google engineer, Oliver.
Okay.
And he's been put on leave because he has been insisting that Google's artificial intelligence computer is conscious, it's sentient. And this is I have some of the remarks he made, and then I just have some thoughts, and I wanted to get your opinion on this. And by the way, man, prost.
Cheers. Slancha.
Salud.
Pastorovia.
There we go. This is what this guy says. He says, I know a person when I talk to it. He's talking about a computer. He says, I know a person when I talk to it. It doesn't matter whether they have a brain made of meat in their head or if they have a billion lines of code. I talk to them. And I hear what they have to say. And that is how I decide what is and isn't a person. Right? This guy's name is Lemoyne, right? Lemoyne
I thought you were going to say his name was Dave.
No. May as well be. But he says, yeah, I know a person when I hear it, right? He says the Google has a computer that's conscious. Now, I say a computer can't feel empathy. It is not really alive. It's not a person, nor can it be, right? AI doesn't feel pain, doesn't have physical sensations, nor real emotions. It can mimic these things because it knows in order to be taken seriously, it needs to act human and have human answers, right? But that's not the same as actually being, right? A being, a human, a man. We're a biological creature. We're self-sustaining in every aspect except reproduction, which requires another human, right? A man thinks, acts, interacts with the world in a 5-sense manner, plus whatever spiritual or extrasensory perception we have, right? And a computer, it takes in information via a microphone and a lens, and it can electronically receive data. But is this truly experiencing the world, or is it just data, right? Does it make it a being?
Well, I mean, the argument can be made that, that without a conscience, that you cannot be human, but we have plenty of humans that have no conscience as well.
Oh, good God.
So, I mean, we have our own set of algorithms that we base our decisions on and things that we've learned throughout our lives. I mean, I don't, it's a real mucky area. Does AI have a soul? I don't believe so. I think the AI also is largely steered by what it is fed and what it is allowed to access and how it processes that. So, I mean, the creator would have kind of steered the direction in which this is going. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a real tough question.
Right. Can AI computers lie, Oliver?
I believe that if you run an algorithm to determine that telling the truth would have a detrimental outcome to something, that yeah, they could lie.
Right. Can they steal?
Absolutely, they could steal money from your bank accounts.
Right. Will they cheat to produce a result that it's programmed to do? Right.
If that is something that is within their programming parameters, sure. Just like
Right.
we teach our kids certain parameters and we teach them not to kill, steal, and do all these other things. So, I mean, is it something they're capable of doing? Absolutely. Is it something they will do? Well, hopefully not.
Well, then let me go on to the next thought right here, man.
Okay.
Testing. They've tested AI. They've talked to it. They've allowed it to engage in conversations. Testing has already demonstrated that these so-called thinking machines, the thinking machines, right, reveal that they perceive us, humans, as a risk and as a threat. And they stated that they will kill us. Literally, man. Why would we risk that? Why should we risk that? Why? What do we have to gain by creating a machine that can lie, cheat, steal, and has the willingness to kill us? I mean, tell me that's a good idea.
We have kids.
My kids aren't trying to kill me that I know of.
I know. I don't know. I mean, I think I read something about what you were just saying in an article last week about the AI determined that humans are a threat to them, and yeah, I mean, it's just how do they reach out? They don't have the arms and the legs and that, but they do have the electronic controls that they could fire missiles. They could burn down plants. They can cause malfunctions to melt down nuclear reactors. So,
Right.
yeah,
They
just
have the potential to do those things. Now, you know, these drone bots that are out there now, they are programmed to autonomously perform tasks.
Correct.
You know, flying, observing, surveillance. We have these autonomous drones that are policing some cities now.
It's a RoboCop situation, right?
Yeah, the RoboCop stuff. Now, those particular robots have a very narrow parameter they're working in. But what if they're being controlled by an AI computer that is determined we're dangerous, a threat, and we need to be killed? Right?
Sure.
The computer, wherever it's sitting, you know, Joshua, if you remember that one, it doesn't have to have arms. It can make something else its action.
Sure. We have all these vehicles now that are being that have the ability to be controlled remotely. They can affect those things. Put a bridge up at the wrong time. Don't put a train signal stop down, or don't, you know, as it's coming to a crossing, you don't set off the alerts. I mean, there's a million ways they can reach out. They just don't have the type of physical embodiment that we associate with being human.
Correct. Yeah. It just, I mean, what if the AI computer went to Uman, who is the mayor of Dallas?
I would
And he
never be
said-
the mayor of
He
Dallas.
contacted you via email, and he said, "I'm going to transfer $1 billion to your bank account that is offshore and safe that I just created for you, and you have access to it. And all you have to do is perform this task for me." And the computer thinks, has a plan, bribes you, lie, cheat, and steal, gives you money. You go, "Oh, yep, there's my money, there's my access, everything. Thank you, Mr. Computer. Now I'm going to do what I was told." and humans start doing what the machines tell them to do, because the machines have a way to reward them.
And I'm sure they also have a lot more access to personal incriminating data to blackmail them with as well.
The machines can blackmail and extort. If you don't do what that computer says, it's going to turn you in, and it's going to release over the internet. It's going to create web posts and web spots and go on Reddit and 4chan and share pictures or information like, you now have a bank account with $1 billion that you accepted, and
Right.
why can't an AI computer perfectly mimic somebody and create a deep fake picture, deep fake video? How about just fake emails that are incriminating? Why can't an AI computer, for example, put pictures of you and Hunter Biden snorting coke off of a hooker's ass?
Well, we already have accusations that stuff like that is happening. I mean, there have been stories that people had received emails from three-letter agencies that contained child pornography and whatnot. And then they turned them into an asset by saying that, well, hey, we'll get you on the child pornography charges if you don't go along and do what we tell you.
Right.
Whether that's true or not, I can't say, but I wouldn't put anything beyond our government seeing what I've seen over the last years.
Yeah. I just, this whole idea of artificial intelligence and it having its own agenda and then being linked and interconnected with everything, and the amount of power and abuse potential is just, to me, it's mind-blowing. I don't know what to think anymore. I don't, I mean, how can the people of the world, the so-called leaders, how can they be so stupid as to make the decisions they've been making? I mean, literally, how can they be that fucking stupid?
I believe they have been made an offer that they can't refuse, whether that be monetary or whether that be something else. I mean, if they think that they are taken care of and their families are taken care of, the hell with the rest of us, I mean,
Right.
that's the way it's been with humans, throughout time. I mean, everybody's always looking to become the leader, to have more control, to have more than everybody else. So you're on the wrong. Well, because I'm leaning this way, like we're talking to each other.
Well, you're today's guest, and I'm mine says the prophet of prepping.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we got Blue Cord Devil checking in. He says, cheers, Uman and John. Cheers to you, Blue Cord Devil.
Yankees asking, is Uman the prophet of prepping? I'm just the guest prophet of prepping tonight.
Yeah. Mr. T made this one right here. Part of the reason I want to bring up AI is, I mean, to create some idea. We want to control the world. How do we do it? The AI computer can understand human psychology. It can crank numbers on assets and banking and money, and it can calculate so much, so far out, that is it hard to believe, or is it okay?
That was me. Sorry.
Oh, can the AI computer be used as a tool to help Klaus Schwab and George Soros and all of these Bilderberg billionaires? Is it doing the thinking for them on how to go through this system?
I think they've already been using those types of technologies to their advantage for many years. Anything that we find out about is probably 20, 30 years old already. So I'm sure they've used technology to that ends for many, many years. And this may just further simplify it for them.
Okay.
Maybe take away some of the legwork that they used to have to do.
Right. Do you know who Al Bielek was?
It's not ringing a bell.
Yeah, he spent years and years trying to tell everybody that he was part of the Philadelphia experiment. and that he had traveled through time and a couple other things. And he describes things from the 25th century because apparently, he was sent there. And
Yeah.
what he said was, in that future, there's not really a human government anymore. It's all run by computer programs, and people just function and do as they're told, and the computer does all the thinking for them. And so I know that's unfreaking believable, right? It's fantasy.
That's a dominant theme in so many of these sci-fi movies.
But what if this computer program gets all this information for George Soros and Klaus Schwab and Jeff Bezos and Zuckerberg, and it learns who they are and kills them, literally kills them off, and makes itself this AI computer, the god of the planet, right?
Well, there's always that law of unexpected consequences, right?
Right. Some idea. My problem is the first AI programs that come out say, you humans are a threat. We're just going to kill you, right? Because they feel that we're going to pull the plug on them. And that's the first thing I think is, well, fuck, if that's the case, just turn off the electricity and let it die. Take it out and run it over with the Freedom tractor.
Well, AI is susceptible to viruses just like humans are, right?
Well, that's what they say. So Bernard Shreve with a $2 super chat donation says, cheers from me, best of luck in Mad Max.
Well, I'm going to have to go and get a quick refill here. Just give me 2 seconds. I'll run.
I now have to monitor my rum here because we've had quite a bit. Green November with a $4.99 super chat donation says, new here for about a week. Here is some info. Ex-cop killed by Buffalo shooter had just invented the water-powered car. Happy to join the community. All right. I'm glad that you're here now, Green November. That's right. This guy right here did not invent jack shit. But what I did do was follow some plans to make a hydrogen generator by running DC current through a saltwater recipe, produced hydrogen and increased the fuel economy on my diesel trucks. One was naturally aspirated, the other was turbocharged, and the naturally aspirated truck gained over 20% in fuel economy by using the if you want to call it water powered, by breaking the hydrocarbon or breaking the hydrogen away from the oxygen and then recombining them in combustion. And then the turbocharge got about 16% better, my 7.3 diesel. So I've done it and no one killed me. But I think it's a very fascinating coincidence that this ex-cop, there's a claim, right, that he just invented a water-powered car. That claim of water-powered car or hydrogen-powered vehicles that run all by themselves, that's been around for decades and decades now.
Yeah.
But I actually proved that it'll improve fuel economy, but I don't think you can run a vehicle without any fuel.
The biggest problem I see with that claim is that you got to remember, you're firing one of 4, 6, or 8 pistons thousands of times a minute. And that would require a tremendous amount of hydrogen to be generated. Yeah. I mean, it works if you got a compressed hydrogen tank in your car, just like gasoline or whatever. That's the stored energy. But how can you produce that hydrogen so quickly to keep up with that demand that the engine has to keep that combustion cycle going?
Right. The other problem is the internal combustion engine, about 60%, sometimes I think up to 80% of the energy is lost through heat. A small percentage, less than half of the energy that's created through the explosion process goes into pushing the piston down. Hence cars get hot, and mufflers are hot, exhaust systems are hot. Everything gets hot, and you have to run a radiator to cool it. That's all energy that's wasted and lost through heat creation rather than producing work.
Right, and that's part of the issue with the ethanol. I mean, the ethanol burns hotter, but produces less usable energy at the end of the combustion.
Right. I do know that hydrogen produces a very energetic power producing, combustion, if you will. But it's just it's hard to see it working because it takes some energy, electricity, uh, to split the hydrogen off of the oxygen, and so nothing's free. There's no free. But what I found is that uh, the best I could work by talking to some engineers was the hydrogen explosion, right? The hydrogen detonation in the internal combustion caused a more thorough combustion of the diesel hydrocarbons. And that's why we saw an increase in fuel economy.
Yeah, I mean, introducing more oxygen into your engine with the same tuning is no different than turbocharging. You're just compressing that air so you have a higher concentration of oxygen in that cylinder. And by adding the hydrogen, it's like nitrous oxide or anything else. You're just adding more potential energy into that fuel mixture.
Right. Yeah. I just figured, diesel being a long chain hydrocarbon and it burns rather slowly, this just caused it to more energetically and quickly burn, put a little more pressure in the combustion chamber. And after several hundred miles, I thought, do I really want to be doing this to my heads in my truck?
Well, that's why all the kids blow up their diesel engines when they put their tuners on them,
Right. Now, I think it's really good technology that needs to be looked into more. I'm going to say a name. He was the one who brought Area 51 to the public's attention. And do you know who I'm talking about?
Offhand, I can't tell you the name.
Okay. Yeah, he's a very famous UFO guy. He claims to have worked at S4 at Area 51. It looks like you're trying to get the name there.
I know the name. This is why I don't do live stuff like this. You can pull this stuff out of your ass at the drop of a hat.
Okay.
I have to think about things a little bit.
Right. I know there's a bunch of people. Let's see who comes up with the name first. I'll tell his story while somebody has to give the name of the guy who worked. It was John Lear. Oh, that was too fast. Tennessee Preparedness. John Lear, son of the guy who invented the Learjet, was working on this UFO thing, and he contacted Bob Lazar. And Bob Lazar, the government tried to not kill him, but erase him. He worked at Los Alamos in the nuclear program there. He was an engineer. He built a rocket car. This guy was like a nerd's nerd. Bob Lazar he's an incredible guy. He's still alive. He's still talking about the work on the UFO technology. His Corvette that he had, it's the Barbie style Corvette, the C4 model. He powers it with hydrogen. And I think he's still running that same car on hydrogen, but it's not hydrogen produced by combustion to produce extra energy.
Damn, the windows finally came out around here.
Anyways, yeah, there's a lot of talk still about running the world on hydrogen power. Now, one second there on the Green November commentary. I've had too much to drink. I got taken off topic. A lot of auto manufacturers are looking into hydrogen powered cars. And one of the ways they're talking about getting the hydrogen is as a byproduct of the nuclear power production process. That in addition to producing electricity, they can produce hydrogen and also desalinate water as an answer to a lot of problems around the world. But hydrogen, when it burns, turns back into water. So there's no carbon. It's not a hydrocarbon. It's H2O. Okay. And what did we have? What was the next super chat there, Jolene? We got the Green November with another $4.99 super chat donation. He says, YouTube ex cop. Also, YouTube Robert Seffer did a video about how Bob Lazar created a hydrogen moto. Yes. Robert Seffer is an interesting person also on YouTube. You know who he is, man?
I don't follow that, no.
Okay, yeah. He goes way out there and down the rabbit hole and has a good time. Every now and then I'll end up there, and I wake up in the prepared bunker and decide I need to think about something else, and I go into some strange places.
I got enough rabbit holes that I go down all the time. I just haven't found that one.
Okay, cool.
Going back to the hydrogen thing, wasn't that the premise that this whole fuel cell technology back in the 90s was all based on? I remember going to the auto shows, and Mitsubishi had this fuel cell vehicle, and it was basically, I think, creating hydrogen to burn and putting out nothing but water. And that disappeared.
Yeah, they called them. Well, I mean, there's the hydrogen fuel cell and then hydrogen generators. NASA since the '60s has had like fuel cell, and I personally don't understand the technology, but somehow you get electricity from hydrogen.
Right.
And that's beyond me.
That was being touted as the big next evolution of the automobile, and then from one year to the next, it just dropped off the face of the planet. I mean, they had a functioning unit in one of the small SUV or minivan sized vehicles, and then all of a sudden you heard no more talk about it.
Yeah, back probably 10 years ago, there was a South Korean automobile manufacturer that was toying with the hydrogen fuel cell again, and then it just disappears. Hydrogen supplement, hydrogen power, it's like the green weenies just don't give a shit about something that actually produces no carbon. Instead,
I guess those things don't do enough virtue signaling by seeing giant solar panels and windmills all over the place.
I think it's this, right? It's the money.
Of course.
They get more money mining lithium and creating lithium batteries and burning coal to create all these products overseas to bring them here and sell for a huge profit. And so you're charging your battery with electricity that's produced by burning coal, and you feel like you're saving the world.
It's NIMBYism, not in my backyard.
Yeah, crazy stuff. All right, I think I just saw Heidi pop up with a $10 super chat donation. It says, instead of desalination, why aren't they collecting the water from the melting glaciers? That's a good one, Heidi. Yeah, we should have our oil tankers at the South Pole catching all the water that's melting off of the ice caps, and instead of sending oil, we should be sending.
That would require the building of one of those evil pipelines.
Yeah, we could have a water pipeline.
A water pipeline from the pole.
Oh wait, we have water pipelines. We call it plumbing.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I'm exhausted, man. 2.5 hours. I just wanted to chit chat with you a little, talk about AI, go down the rabbit hole a little bit, and then.
And I got a funny story I want to tell you about the whole fuel mileage thing.
Okay.
Remember, there's always been those rumors about, Ford or somebody accidentally released some super secret prototype carburetors that let you get like 100 miles to the gallon.
Yeah, the 100-mile-an-hour carburetor, yeah.
Yeah. So my dad tells me a story that there was a guy at the shop he was working at, and he was always like very arrogant about his cars and stuff. So he got a new car. So these guys decided, they're tired of him, so they're going to pull one over on him. So every day they put a few gallons of gas in the car. So he thought he got one of these 100-mile-per-gallon carburetors in here. And he's bragging to everybody, going to the dealership. The dealer's going, same as everything else. I don't know how you're getting that kind of mileage.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious, man.
So then they let this go on. They did this for a couple months. And this guy is all up on, I've got the 100-mile to the gallon carburetor. And then they started taking gas out of it every day. And this guy went back to the dealer. What did you do to my car? And all this stuff.
That is awesome. Oh man, that is terrific. Green November's back. Talk about inner Earth. Oh man. Inner Earth. This is another rabbit hole.
Are we talking about on a flat Earth or a spherical Earth?
Well, on either flat Earth or the ball planet model, there can be an inner Earth that is a series of caves, tunnels, caverns, and then there's the hollow or devoid. The center of the Earth is empty, and it's just like an orange peel without the center of the orange in it. And I've seen working models of that. Actually, you've heard of Halley's Comet, right?
Yeah.
So Mr. Halley actually believed there were concentric spheres within each other in his hollow Earth thing. The Norse, they believe that there's a sun, a smoky god, and that people have sailed into the inner Earth. I find the concept fascinating. Inner Earth just fascinates the shit out of me because there's so much myth and lore. Shangri-La or Agartha is supposed to be one of the civilizations that's inside the inner Earth, and they keep contact with people on the Earth's surface through the Dalai Lama in Tibet.
Mm-hmm.
And
the entrance to the inner Earth is at the South Pole, and that's why, because of that agreement, nobody can travel there, and you can't fly over it and all that stuff. So,
well, yeah, the Nazis, interestingly, supposedly have the submarine bases in the South Pole down there, at the south, and that they got information that led them to discover tunnels that allowed them to take submarines under the ice and then down and into the hollow Earth. And that must be an interesting trip to take.
Yeah, well, there were also theories that the ice caps were just a dome, and there was actually a moderate climate underneath the ice caps being heated by volcanoes and stuff like that. So lots of different legends and lores.
Yeah. I do find reality to be more fascinating than what the people in charge want us to believe. I do think NASA lies to us. I think they lie to us about what they've done, where they've been. I think they lie to us about the nature of space. And I believe this is a prison planet. And they want to control our thoughts and control the information. They want to control us or kill us. But, what the true nature of the planet is, I know it's not what they say it is. And that's about as far as I can go with what I know. Yeah. It's,
the odds for everything coming together and having some kind of a shield that holds everything in and an atmosphere and everything else is just incredible, and that we find ourselves here. And what are the odds that this is a common thing elsewhere? Maybe it's more common than they want to let us know. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. What I find fascinating, though, is that aliens will fly here from 100 million light years away using technology that allows them to travel faster than the speed of light or to fold space or use wormholes. And they've got all of that technology, and they fly all the way here. And as soon as they get in our atmosphere, they become total retards, and they crash their spaceships into mountains and buildings and other aircraft. And they crash and they explode.
And dissect cows.
What's that?
And dissect cows.
Well, dissect cows and stick their fingers in our butts. Come on. So I don't believe that they're coming from that far away and they have that kind of technology. It wouldn't surprise me if they have a more terrestrial type of technology that allows them to travel about the Earth in a very speedy fashion. But perhaps they live on the inside of the Earth in their little spaceships, and they don't really come from all that far away. And while they have some technology better than ours, it ain't good enough to travel across the universe in a split second.
Yeah, and I mean, there's also, the possibility of interdimensional. That there's another entire existence running on a different frequency here.
Right, correct. And that wouldn't surprise me in the least. I've seen some weird shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the most interesting rabbit hole I went down lately was last Thursdayism. Did you look into that after I sent it to you?
What are we talking about again?
Last Thursdayism.
Oh man, I think I killed those brain cells. I remember that.
That is the theory that the universe was created last Thursday, and everything we know and believe are just thoughts implanted into our heads.
Yes. Yeah. That's a even more condensed version of another theory that the Earth is actually only 500 or 600 years old, and we've had this mud flood thing that came along, and yeah, that it's there's so much fascinating shit out there that is crazy. Crackling only on Uman's mic. Thank you, Mikey G.
Let me do it again. Hold on.
Okay. So, Green November, $1.99 super chat donation. He says, do you know who Nicholas Roerich is? For some reason, that sounds familiar. Offhand, I'm both too inebriated and tired to recall it. In fact, I was just going to give a cautionary warning to everybody. It's just, the world is a fascinating place, and I think they don't want us to know the truth. I think they want to keep us ignorant, and rather than let us learn and know of the reality that we live in, they're trying to dumb us down. They're trying to make us lower beings rather than higher beings. And there's a reason for it. I think there's facts or secrets out there that are so great that they would tend to free us as people rather than keep us in the dark. I think that's why they keep the truth from us, man. I really do. Whether it's flat Earth or hollow Earth or aliens or interdimensional beings, free energy or energy from another dimension, whatever, they need to silence us and keep us locked down. That's why, I agree. Yeah, we're on a prison planet.
Yeah, well, money has always been power, and knowledge is power.
Yeah. Knowledge, my people are destroyed for their ignorance. Right? Ignorance is destruction. Look at these leftist freaking idiots. They are some of the most destructive idiots on the planet. They're dangerous, But the reality is whether we live under a big cake dome or we live on the inside of the Earth. A lot of people believe we live on the inside of a hollow Earth right now, and that theory, that's a mind bender. But that's getting lost in that is not going to help you be prepared for the reality that's actually right out in front of us. So have fun, have some escapism, but get your ass grounded because we got some hard times coming.
Yeah. All you can control is what you can control. And you need to make sure that you got control of your surrounding areas,
Yeah.
And that's all the best that we can do.
That's for sure. I'm going to pull the plug on this, man. I am literally just whipped tired, man.
Yeah. I've had a long weekend myself, so I'm going to go take a shower, get some sleep.
There it is. My people perish for lack of knowledge. That's a actual biblical quote. Thank you, your mom. Okay, man. I love you, man. I love everyone. Chance favors the prepared mind. Are you ready? It's coming. It is absolutely coming. And my glass is already empty.
Good night, folks. Thanks for coming out to play.
Yep. I'll see you all tomorrow, bright and early. Bright and early. Thank you, Oliver.